All right, and we are live, I believe. Let's do a quick checky poo here. And while I'm checking, the market is not doing what I want to see already. Uh, See this distribution here? I want to see pre 930 accumulate. And here after the 830 market ran up and then ran down. So that is not what I'm wanting to see. Uh, that's going to indicate to me that this morning might be choppy. So let's see here, checking out, making sure everything's good. Want to make sure the recording's there. Want to make sure the audio's working. Trying to work on getting the audio cleaned up. It appears the mic that I have does not like to stream quality to YouTube. It works great for video recording, but it doesn't seem like YouTube likes this mic. So it's something I'm working on. Cool. We're all connected there. A little bit of a late start this morning, so I didn't get quite the time that I wanted to um, do my pre-market checkout, but hey, that's how it goes sometimes. So before we got 5 minutes until open, I'm bullish is what I'm feeling on the charts. Kind of going over here, looking at this section of price action here. The daily is accumulating, and I was anticipating an accumulation, taking out this low of the range before coming up higher. However, it looks like on the daily, looks like it did, took out the high of the range, and then it's still pushing higher. Noting that the rejection was at 130 on the day on this the consequent encroachment of this rejection block. Which, if that's the case, then I missed a good short this morning. I saw it on the chart. I'm curious to see what it looks like actually. I just couldn't find the level I was looking for to validate the short for me. And in this case, if we turn on the daily, here's that rejection block, zooming back in. So yeah, for me, I couldn't have validated this short with that rejection block. Um, Same thing there on the weekly. So I guess that's okay. It makes me feel a little bit better missing out on that short. Um, Back over here, order flow is just bullish here on the 4 hour chart. We can see that yesterday, this was this 10 a.m. candle, that yesterday morning, this liquidity sweep down into these lows and pushing higher. My target for today is end of day these highs. But for the morning session, so here's this gap in these candles, this gap between this tail and this wick. It's been inverted, and then here's another little gap here that's been tapped into already. London made a reasonable move this morning. So, and that's what I'm seeing right here. This is the London move up, and then here we had a retracement down into this gap, and then a further push up. Um, I'm not liking how this 4 hour candle is looking in terms of bullish continuation. I'd want to see something closing a little higher up there. Uh, but that's closing here in about 30 minutes. We have 2 minutes till open. Order flow is just bullish. So I'm kind of anticipating for the morning session uh, some kind of potential distribution down to these equal lows and then a continuation back up or higher pricing. Because look at this down here. So we have the opening price. We have all these equal highs and lows. That's the thing I would like to see. Will it do it? That's a totally different question. So, kind of preemptively looking here and trying to see if there's a setup that's going to be possible right at 9:30. Hoping I don't mess up my stream here by changing a setting. Let's see if YouTube's still recording. Yeah, looks like it. Looks like we're good. We're good. So today is day 9 of my challenge as a new trader trying to get his first payout. Um, it's been quite a journey, and I'm sure many of you, if you're watching this later on the recording, can relate. You're probably watching it uh, on the journey yourself, would be my guess. Because if you're successfully there, you're probably not watching me. And I have some thoughts for you a little later. Cool. So we got 930 open. Here is the opening range gap, consequent encroachment of that gap. Let's see what happens. I think it's going to push further down for these equal lows. That's what would make sense to me. Doesn't have to do it. Not by any stretch of the imagination does it have to do it. Like it could just invert this and take off. So that's been balanced. That tapped into kind of looking around at my other chart here, trying to see if I see anything I like. I don't. I mean, this whole leg, this thing's a breaker down here. It's so huge though. Um, Stop hunt to the upside, stop hunt to the downside. I think it's going to push lower still. But we'll see. Let's see what the other indices are doing. ES, YM. We look for the correlation or lack of correlation. Like, look at this. Look at YM. It is doing completely the opposite. And I've noticed that a lot lately. We've been seeing that. YM is just doing its own thing, and NQ is doing its own thing, and ES is somewhere in the middle of the two. And look at this. So this is starting to look like 930 crap to me. Makes me want to trade ES or YM, even though I never have. So this, liquidity grab down here hasn't really done anything I want to see it do. At minimum, I want to see a tap into like a 15-minute fair value gap. And if anything, we're inverting this right here. Pretty close. This candle didn't close below, but pretty dang close. So yeah, now it's dumping for those equal lows. If that's the case, it comes down into this 1 hour gap, takes these lows, then I might have a long. Just YM. Look at that. Look at that. Usually you didn't used to look at YM for SMT and correlation. Started doing that a little bit more lately. So let's just chill out and see what we got going on here. I'm curious to see how this day plays out because I was expecting Tuesday high of the week, and if anything, it's kind of well, it's not looking like it was going to be Tuesday high of the week, so we're looking like Thursday high of the week was what my anticipation was after that. 933. All right, we took those equal lows. We got a first presented fair value gap. SMT is starting to form. Here's an inversion. And I don't know where it's going to stop. I'm just kind of preemptively checking things out to see what my risk would be with on one mic, and 47 bucks is all if this were to happen. So So yeah, there's SMT there. So this would meet all my trade requirements and fit my narrative and fit my bias, bullish bias. My narrative was for these equal lows to be taken out. And there's some nice, well, sort of relative equal highs up in this zone. Not perfect, but hey, it's a little bit of trendline liquidity. All right, 935. Close above this gap, and I'm interested in a long. Mm-hmm. 15 seconds. I think it's going to do it. And it didn't. I don't know what's going on. Did my order not place? I closed that order. It didn't close above that gap though. Closed right at it. And I don't like it when it does that. I want to make sure nothing happened because it didn't close above that gap yet. That's not a confirmed entry for me. I thought I pressed the close button. I'm going to double check, make sure I didn't press the buy button because I don't see anything showing up on the screen, but my computer's been funny lately. It's not loading very easily. Let's see here. It says I have an excellent connection. So what's going on? Can't see what's happening. I don't have any open position. Yeah, I don't have anything happening there. So interesting. Now this candle, if it closes above, I'm curious. It didn't close above. Well, look at that. I actually am in a position and it's not showing here on this screen. So I'm gonna exit out of all positions. Okay, that's really weird. I'm gonna try reloading things here. It did enter a position. Um, I'm feeling like my computer needs to be restarted, and that's not what I wanna have to do right this minute. All right, so I'm not getting any response from my computer here. Like, it's choosing not to do select things. Like, I can't log in. I'm on my other screen. I'm trying to log into my trading account, and like I can do anything, but I can't log into Tradeovate. Um, and there's the close above. Now I would want to be in a long position. Come on. All right, so I'm just gonna shut down the browser. So there's my desktop. How do you like that? There's the. I'm starting to feel like I might do something stupid. I don't understand. I don't have. Just fucking log me in. All right, there we go. Finally got things working. Going in off this idea of this is a breaker. And down here can be my stop. So roughly 1 to 1. I'm bummed because this would have been my entry down here, right in here, and my computer locked up. So that's much wider stop than I would really want to have had. Um, Here's this gap. And start pulling up some of my other charts. That was a pretty bad entry, so kind of leaves me feeling a little disappointed. Um, Felt really rushed because I saw this as the breaker, and so I entered on this candle right coming right above it, and didn't leave me much of a R. So I don't quite know how to say it. I felt a little bit like you're kidding me, you know? Um, Felt a little disappointed. Once I saw I was in a position here, I closed it just to get out of it because nothing was working on the computer on TradingView. So I was able to exit the position in Tradeovate for a slight loss. And then was trying to get my computer to log back into my accounts. And I see it close above. So it was one of those things where had I just left it and not touched it, I'd have been in the position, right in here, and I'd be taking profits already. So I felt like I didn't have the best luck which is some things I've felt a little bit lately in some regards. To be like, well, the smart thing to do is to close the position because it could careen down here, and I don't even know if there's a stop loss or not set uh, because I couldn't tell. Nothing was on the screen working, so I had no idea if there was a stop loss. So I just went into my dashboard, collapsed everything, and 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 that would have ended up being a win already because I would have TP'd somewhere in here, probably wouldn't have come to break even again. And so now it's going to be a whole lot longer to figure out, to wait and see what even happens. Um, I'm going to play this one as 1-to-1, I think, just because of everything that happened. Um, so yeah, I'm going to get my other charts going up in here, and maybe I'll be lucky. It'll be my lucky day, and it just decides to rip for that, and it doesn't have to mess with me a ton. And that would be great because the NQ has not been very kind the last couple weeks. I was even talking to a friend last night about switching over to gold, just like, and even seeing how YM is moving, ES is moving, and look at NQ. It's like I don't want to do anything. So let's see here, switching up, getting my chart set up, open up some new tabs. And really, I guess there's a lesson to learn in here. Like there's a lesson to learn in everything if you can find it. So I could be super upset that, and I initially was, I for sure was, super upset that the way everything played out in this, having to exit the position in a frantic scramble, getting back in, trying to get my computer to work and do its thing. And and that's a bummer. And I'm sitting here going, like, I want to be upset that, oh, uh, I had to get out of the position only to get back into the position, and I could have won the position. Now I might lose the trade. Like those kind of things happen in life. Um, but the real thing is, can we find the silver lining? Can we find the positive in it? And in hindsight, looking back, I do. I saw a little bit before I went live, I was noticing a little bit of funniness with one of the websites I was using, Canva, to create the thumbnail for this. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Canva doesn't seem to be responding very well. And so that right there was my clue. I should have shut the browser down, should have shut down the computer and rebooted before pressing the go live button. And so that was my mistake. And now I have that little point of reference for myself going forward as I'm, new to live streaming. I'm not new to being a content creator or anything like that. That's what I did before trading. But I didn't do any live streaming. Everything I did is pre-recorded. So very different scenario. And I also wasn't live trading, which is anything I did in the past, like you pretty much had time. And in trading, you don't have time. So let's see here, pulling up some of my other charts again. I like what the 15-minute is looking like. Nice rejection down in here. I do want to see this gap fail right there. Over here on the 5-minute. This gap here too. So if it's gonna, and that's where I was super bummed at my entry. Had I been down here, everything would have been a lot safer. Whereas up in this zone, it can reject, come back, and then I have, my stops. I have less room to go break even or anything like that. Oh, I do like to look at that 1 hour. Not that it's can't change, but that 10 minutes to close, and that's looking like a nice bullish candle. So going back over here to the trade screen, I went in with 2 micros this time. I know 1 micro is silly pretty much and doesn't really do anything. So I used 1 micro just to get in back into the groove of things. My count's still a little bit in the red, not much. Like a solid winning trade would totally take care of it. I want to go over here real quick and log back into Tradeovate in case I need to panic exit a position like that. Again, I don't think I will because everything seems to be working fine. But Never know. And I guess also looking back in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have entered this trade. And just because of my panic to get in and the technical difficulties, I might not have been making clear decisions. And there could have been indications that I didn't want to take this trade that came after that I wasn't seeing just because I was like, I need to get in this trade. Whereas every candlestick gives us a little more information as to what we want to see or what we don't want to see. I might have missed something, and it might have been a trade I wouldn't have gotten into had this whole panic situation not unfolded down there. Um, so bearing that in mind, don't want to. I don't want to necessarily do that kind of stuff in the future. So it's another lesson here today. So we have SMT down in here. I took this as a breaker inversion, kind of inversion. And that's where even like looking at this, like it's kind of an inversion. There's a little itty bitty inversion. Is that significant enough for me? I don't know. I might have doubted it, but it is what is it. It is what it is at this point. I could collapse the trade. Um, really, I'd be okay tucking that up a little bit, considering where my stop is now, below that gap. As long as it's 1-to-1, I'm fine on this trade. I'm really not shooting for 1-to-1s anymore. Um, so we're up 124 ticks. But everything that I'm shooting for 2-to-1s. That's what I need for my system to work. But the way this unfolded, it's going to be a 2-to-1. I'm kind of feeling a little stressed. I want out of this trade so I can just reset, recalibrate, because it may rip higher and may give me the 2R if I held. I just don't feel like it. I'm going to call this a W, especially as much time as I spent in the charts this week. Just give me a little boop. That's all I need is a little boop. But all things considered, it wasn't so bad in terms of everything that happened here. I didn't just enter randomly. I did enter on a breaker, despite the chaos that was happening for me on my end. Look at that. Look at that. It's going to tease me by a tick. Unbelievable. Like I even tucked that up just a little bit to make sure it tapped me because you want to front run your exits by a bit. Like it'll sometimes leave equal highs, which it is. It's leaving relative equal highs. So even here, apparently I should have exited right there because now it might come back down a bunch before tapping that level. So at this point, I think I think for me, it's gonna take this candle's higher, this candle's low. Trying to decide if I want to move this up at all and just I think it's gonna take it or just collapse it. Tailless candle right there. So it could come back down here for that. It's already tapped into here. I would expect it to run up to here. So for me, I am just going to tuck it up there. It's one or the other. I don't know which is going to happen first. Oh, there we go. There we go. TP hit, TP hit. So cool. Everything happened as I wanted it to, which was a great feeling. And then see, there's that response. That's what I didn't want to be a part of. I wasn't on this particular trade interested in holding on a retracement. Other times, yeah, it's like we expect it, and that's one of the things I'm learning and growing into is giving back gains because you're like, oh, I had all these gains and then I lost them. Well, that's part of it. So cool. I'm going to clean this up just a little bit. There was my prediction, so I'm going to get rid of that. And I think I'm okay with that. So cool. That would be an awesome way to end the day. Um, let's look here. I'm looking around here, making sure there's nothing else I want to check out, or if I want to stay on stream, keep recording. I don't think I do. I think I'm good. I think I need a reset after that bit of shenanigans and come back to the charts. So that'll just be a short stream for today, which I'm okay with. Some days are long. I spent hours on the stream several days this week and didn't get anything, and today was quick and easy, so that's awesome. Wrapping up then day 9 of the challenge, I took a W on the day, and mixed feelings about it, just because I think the one thing I really appreciate the concept of discipline, and I think that had I been more disciplined, I wouldn't have entered the trade. I would have let it watch and run without me. Given the technical issues that happened down here, I really think that would have been the better decision, but I didn't. Usually I would. So that's my one thing. I can at least say I wasn't just buying any candlestick. This is my model. So this is the two versions of my model: an inversion, which I saw down here, and then the breaker, which could arguably be here, could arguably be there. So that to me is maybe a 30-second breaker. Here's more of a 1-minute breaker, and I at least kept it light. I kept it down to 2 mics, which is still super small risk for this account, and I kept the TP conservative, and I kept a wider stop. So I think all things considered, I played it okay, played it fine enough. Um, Still feeling like this challenge is kind of slow to get started, and I feel like I haven't had tons of trade opportunities. I feel like sometimes I've noticed in trading, in my back testing and in my live trading, whether it's on evals or my previous attempt at getting a payout, there's just these periods where it feels like the markets are messing with you. And today is one of those exact days where it's like, um, had I just not collapsed the trade while I tried to figure out what technically was going on, I'd have made great money on that thing. I'd have been up twice what I'm up right now. But the wise thing to do was to collapse that trade because I couldn't tell what orders were placed. Was there a stop loss? I couldn't tell. Nothing was working. And that's the messing with that I feel like yesterday was a good example too, where I got stop hunted. So everything was right. My first trade, I was right on my direction and bias and narrative, but I got stop hunted and then it ran to my targets immediately. And then the trade after that I took, the moment I entered in that trade, everything started going sideways for like 20 minutes. This just hovering around my entry. And eventually I had to leave. I had to go take my son to swimming. So I collapsed the trade at break even because I can't leave a position. I don't want to leave a position running. And and that ended up being a win. So those kind of things make me, but those are part of trading is what I'm learning. And they make me feel like the market's messing with me. But I have to be able to account for those freak things to happen. And I notice they come in groups. I feel like the market does something psychologically to us when it's being in these kind of consolidation states and messing with our minds. And I feel like that manifests in our life. That Like this whole week, I've been a little bit on my toes. Last week was a little bit of a rough start to the challenge, and I said, that's cool, whatever, getting started again, doing funded trading is, I'm expecting to be a little unconfident and make some mistakes. The fact that that's carried through to this week, that's got me down a little bit. And wanting to see the confidence build and the success build. However, I felt like this week has just been weird. Monday was no trades, Tuesday was no trades, and then Wednesday, like I just told you, was all this weird stuff happening. And today it's more weird stuff happening. That's okay. I mean, I think I'm even slightly green on this week. Who knows? Because there's still the rest of the day and there's the rest of tomorrow. But nonetheless, it's a weird start. I thought about that today when I was setting the stream up. I'm like, I'm 9 days in, which made it seem like a lot. Tomorrow's going to be 10 days, 1/10 of the way. And I feel like, on one hand, I'm not getting anywhere. But I also know my goal for the first month, even, was just break even. So at the end of the first 30 days, if I'm break even, that to me is a win. That means I traded my account for 30 days and I was able to beat 99% of traders and just break even. And look at this move. She's running nice. I'm happy that I took profits, though. This doesn't bother me. If it rages up here real quickly, that would bug me. So maybe that's a good place to stop. And I'll check. I'll be live again tomorrow. Say obviously, and for the next however many days until I get to 90 days, I'm gonna show up come hell or high water. So see you tomorrow.